Tony Aragon here from Plan Nirvana. On this channel, we help you find your competence to be able to increase your confidence so you can get the best out of life. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss any great content as it comes out. You know, I spent some time with the family this weekend, so my post-production is a little bit slow, but you got to do what you got to do. You know, a lot of times people say you need to visualize your dreams, but really, does anybody know what that means? In today's video, we're going to break that down and why it works. All right, it's time to get a bit sciencey on this video. I'm not a scholar by any means, but I am a read man. So, through self-reflection, reading, and listening to other people's life stories, I have found a very useful method to get to a place I want to be in. Through picturing the end goal, I have been able to most times get what I've wanted. So, I have a couple of questions for you. What do you think happens in your brain when you are motivated towards your major goals and when you aren't? Or, how is it that some people are able to push through the distractions of hunger, anxiety, and discomfort and work towards their goals anyway? What if I told you that your brain and body don't know the difference between what is happening in the real world and what is happening in your mind's eye? In other words, we can use visualization in order to tell our bodies that there is a threat or a great reward to work toward. If we are good enough at this, it can become so real that it triggers a flood of hormones. For example, imagine that you've told a lie, but now you're going to be found out. Your body releases hormones into your body that you begin to feel what it's like when someone knows the truth, and yet it hasn't become real. You experience a physiological response that causes you to shake, tremble, and in some cases, you lose your stomach. Neuroscientists are increasingly subscribing to a theory called Embodied Cognition. This states that we think by using pictures in order to understand the world. What does this mean? Well, there are lots of studies on this, with the goal to find out how humans were able to garner meaning from conversations that use spoken or written language. In other words, when we understand language, how is this happening? What are we translating that language into in order to comprehend it? Embodied cognition suggests that we comprehend meaning and language by relating it to our own experiences. We essentially play a little movie in our mind of what we are reading or listening to, using our own senses and our own bodies to understand it. So, when someone tells you that they are walking through the woods, you understand this by visualizing the trees and by remembering the feeling of leaves crushing underfoot. When you are in a discussion about math, you understand it by relating that to your own experiences with quantity and objects. Our understanding is rooted in our physical experience. Brain scans appear to confirm this theory, or at least lend support to it. They can show that when we hear a story or think about something, areas of our motor cortex and sensory cortices light up as though we were using them. If you want to learn more, I will place a link to this research in the description below. So, we can glean from this, as far as the body is concerned, there is little difference between imagining you are walking in the rain and actually walking in the rain. This experience is very similar, and such, the hormonal response is also very similar. Likewise, when you're struggling to get out of bed in the morning, you might have a flashing thought when you think about the repercussions. We call it something flashing before our eyes. You might very briefly imagine yourself being fired, shamed, and destitute. And this is just as real as that feeling of comfort in bed. This is how you can motivate yourself to do something. When you think about what could be gained by working on your physique or by writing that book or by working on your business. Visualize the endpoint and the steps along the way. This can release huge amounts of dopamine, the reward hormone, which controls motivation and goal-oriented behavior. This then activates a pattern of activity in the brain called the salience network. This is the part of the brain that causes us to switch attention from one thing to another and then to hold that focus. Lots of science here, but I will place a couple of links to the articles that you can read in the description box to learn more. But I can be safe to say this network is a control network used as conscious control of attention, motivation, and reflex response to stimuli. So, how can you use visualization in order to work towards your goals? First tip I found is to make sure that the thing you're working towards is something that you feel extremely passionate about. This is perhaps the most important way to stay motivated and disciplined, to have an end goal that you truly care about, one that you get excited about. You need a goal like that in order to stay motivated. Begin with the end in mind. What does success look like? Imagine how you feel once you achieve it. Okay, what if you don't know your end goal? That's fine. You don't need to change the world here. Even working towards a short-term or an immediate goal will have similar benefits. As I say, small gains bring big results. Just make sure there is always something you're working on and towards. You need to make sure that the goal you are working towards is something that speaks to you emotionally. In other words, the more your needs, the ambition, and the goal meet, the greater your chance of success. So, by considering these factors, we can hack our motivation and become the most productive, hardworking versions of ourselves. Not by reasoning with ourselves or trying to convince ourselves to work harder, but by making the work we're doing become the thing we can't stop thinking about.